The number one way to keep germs off your hands is to wash them with hot soapy water for 20 seconds. But if you don't have access to a sink and soap and water, then the next best thing when you're not at home is to use hand sanitizer. Hi, I'm Joanne from Soulful Sister Aromatherapy, and we're gonna show you a few DIY hand sanitizer recipes to use. Okay, so we have some basic ingredients to use. The number one, if you have access to it, is rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol. And you can see it says 99% alcohol. This is the key ingredient when you're making hand sanitizer. The Canadian government says a hand sanitizer to kill germs has 60% alcohol. The American government says 60 to 66% alcohol. So we're looking at it as 2/3 of your recipe having rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol in it to kill germs. If you don't have access to isopropyl alcohol, you can use Witch Hazel. This is a Witch Hazel with 14% alcohol in it. That's just a natural, it's a preservative for this Witch Hazel. And this is a more natural product, but you'll have to boost this up with more essential oils to boost the effectiveness of the germ killing. Okay, the other ingredients we're looking at to put in there is aloe vera gel. Aloe vera is what makes your hand sanitizer gel-like. So depending on how you plan to use it, it also adds to the healing factor and the softness for your hands after you use it. And there are a few other things that we're gonna put in it, like essential oils, tea tree being extremely antiviral, antibacterial, so tea tree is a major ingredient. And we have an essential oil called Vital Health. This is really similar to other companies. We all have a similar recipe. Thieves, On Guard, For Robbers, I think is one of them. It's based on an old recipe, goes back to the plague, and they're saying that the robbers who robbed the dead people were the ones who stayed healthy because they had masks with different aromatics in them. They would have had cloves, cinnamon, rosemary, actual herbs in there. And this is a story that's what kept them healthy. And thus this recipe is based on that. And because they're all antibacterial, antimicrobial, antiviral essential oils. Find a bowl or a mixing bowl or anything where you can measure out a little bit. And you want to always start with the alcohol. So if you have rubbing alcohol on hand, let's go with 2/3 rubbing alcohol to 1/3 all other ingredients. Remember, 2/3 isopropyl or rubbing alcohol, 1/3 everything else. That will guarantee that you're killing the germs on your hand. So we're gonna start by making 100 mils of hand sanitizer. So if we're doing 2/3, we're gonna do 66 milliliters of rubbing alcohol. And we're gonna take our isopropyl alcohol, and I'm adding 66 milliliters. You don't have to be super exact, just make sure it's 2/3. So I'm just gonna pour this in. I have a 50 milliliter mark, I'll show you, and a 100 milliliter mark on this vessel. So if I had a cup measurement, I would do 2/3. So that looks like over 66, closer to 75. The next part of the recipe is adding aloe vera gel, and we're adding 30 mils of aloe gel. Now, here's the thing. We've got isopropyl alcohol in our container, ready to go, but I'm not going to put the aloe gel in quite yet. I'm gonna take the aloe gel, that 30 mils, and I'm gonna put it in a small bowl. And in that small bowl, I'm going to add essential oils, whatever I choose to add to the aloe gel. So we're gonna add the essential oils to the aloe and mix it really well. And then we're gonna take that and we're gonna add it to the alcohol. So we're going to add the aloe vera gel. I'm going to measure 30 milliliters of aloe vera gel in here. And remember, aloe is a great carrier oil. Anytime you want to combine essential oils to apply to the body, we say, don't apply essential oils directly to the body, but you can apply it into aloe first as its carrier and then apply it to the skin. And aloe is a wonderful carrier. It's aqueous, which means it's quick absorbing into the body. Adding our tea tree and lavender mixture. And of course, remember, you can substitute these for any antibacterial and antiviral essential oil that you have, like Rosalina is a great one. This is a Melaleuca ericafolia, so the same family as tea tree. You can also use, remember we talked about Vital Health or any other thievesy, on guard type formula to it that's very antibacterial, antiviral. Just be cautious how much you put in with children, because there is quite a bit of spice oil and can be sensitizing if they touch their face right after, which hopefully they don't. So we're gonna add our tea tree first. So we're going to add 40 drops of tea tree to this. Okay, and so if you are not measuring 40 drops, just know 40 drops is equivalent to 2 milliliters. So if you have a pipette and you're doing it that way, it's 2 milliliters. And then we're adding lavender. I'm going to be adding 20 drops of the lavender. That is equivalent to 1 milliliter. Perfect. Now I'm going to stir these around. This is just essential oil in the carrier oil. I want the essential oil to mix into the aloe, which is the carrier, before adding it to the alcohol. And it gets kind of a cloudy color, and that's okay. I probably could have used a smaller spoon, but you're gonna see it gets a little bit cloudy. Don't worry about it, it's totally normal. So I have my alcohol and then I have my aloe, and now I'm gonna take this aloe and essential oils and I'm going to put it in. So I've got that, get all that goodness out of there. Spatula is a great thing to use right now. I just don't have one on hand, so you can use your spatula. And I'm going to stir it up really well. See if you can see that. So this is kind of funny. I don't know if you can tell, it's globby. And remember I said it doesn't stir in. It takes a while to fully get the aloe to break down. And that's all you do. I would mix it up, I would sit it on the counter, and I would wait a few hours to overnight if you want it to fully set up into a nice gel. What's going to happen is it starts off liquid, but ends up very gelatinous, like a typical hand sanitizer. It's gelatinous. That's the aloe thickening everything up. If you choose to use your hand sanitizer in a spray bottle, do not use a whole third of aloe gel. Use like a tablespoon of aloe gel. That way in the end, you're gonna get it slightly thickened, but not too thick to spray. So those are kind of key things to think about. You really can't go wrong. When you apply it, it may seem sticky at first, but just keep rubbing it in and it'll give you a nice soft feel on your hands. If you want extra softening, you can add vitamin E to it. Just go to the health food store and buy some vitamin E gel caps and open 2 or 3 and mix it into your solution. That'll add more healing powers, but it won't change the antibacterial properties. If you have an old bottle, use that. It's a great time to repurpose a tube. We have these little tubes to put hand sanitizer in. The tip is quite small, so what we do is we make our hand sanitizer and then we squeeze it down and suck up the hand sanitizer into it. It sounds weird, but it works really, really well. And we do that and then just wipe around the edges, and then you have all your hand sanitizer in a travel or ready to go tube. And I found this at the local dollar store. This is another great thing to do. It's got all these little containers in it. And one of them is just a little bottle. You can use a funnel and get your hand sanitizer in one of these with a flip top. I always encourage people to look around your house. I'm sure you have an old hand sanitizer bottle you can refill or something you can refill. And if you don't, these little containers are easy to find. Okay, so hand sanitizer number 2. This is if you do not have rubbing alcohol on hand because you couldn't find any in the stores. Instead of rubbing alcohol, we are using Witch Hazel. You're going to be using Witch Hazel, and a Witch Hazel that already has a 14% alcohol content to it, as opposed to non-alcoholic witch hazel. So in this recipe, we're gonna make a more liquid recipe, and we're going to use 75% of the witch hazel, and the rest of it will be aloe and essential oils. We're going to add more essential oils to this recipe because we want to boost up the effectiveness of the witch hazel. So in this recipe, I'm going to use 25% of aloe gel. So I'm taking my aloe gel. I'm going to measure it out because we're making a 100 milliliter hand sanitizer recipe. To that, if we're using our same lavender and tea tree blend, we're going to add 40 drops of tea tree and 20 drops of lavender. So that gives us 3 mils of essential oils in that blend. And that'll boost up its effectiveness. Because I'm using mostly liquid, this will not make a gel blend. So I'm going to stir it really well. You're gonna see it doesn't fully dissolve right away, and that's okay, it will over time. Stir it as best you can for a few minutes, and then leave it to set up for a couple hours or overnight. And that's it. You have a hand sanitizer that has no alcohol in it. So for this one, would work in a spray container. This will not be as gelatinous when it's finished. It will be a more liquidy because we're not putting as much aloe in. So this is great if you want to put it in a spray. You can still put it in a pump bottle. It'll just be a bit more liquidy. So that gives us two DIY hand sanitizer recipes to make. You can always increase the amount of essential oils as you wish. So if you are really concerned, you can up the quantities of the tea tree. You can even add up to 5 mils of tea tree to that amount. And that will be also safe because you're making 100 mils, and that would be a 5% dilution. So good luck making your blends. Please let us know if you have any questions. And if you love this video and want to help us out and want to see more of what we do, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is super helpful and we really appreciate it. Helps us get the message out and help more people. So stay clean, wash your hands, use your sanitizer, and have a soulful day.